Glad to know you stay with us, and we're still looking at a 15.5% MPR. What does this mean for the economy? I'd like to start with you because you started that conversation earlier, talking about what this means for the economy. But now, more specifically, let's look at the capital market.
You know, for you to drive your economy, there are two ways to raise funds for business or for economic expansion. So that we are coming to the capital market, and capital market is in two ways. We have the money market and the stock market also. But in anywhere in the world, interest rate is what we call it move funds around, and also it tells you the cost of fund. And these are the two basic things. Money has to do with cost and movement. And when it's a movement, if we are hack your interest rate, automatically funds will become expensive for what? For resetters to have access to, and that will automatically slow down what their activities. We have seen for the month of August that our potential manager index dropped from 53.8 to almost 52. It tells you that there's slow expansion. Now we have hike it again. Also in the month of let's say August, September, we might not see more because it's almost at the end of September that you really hike it. There might be from the month of October. But for me, funds moving around to look for where you can get a higher return with a less risk. But at this point, because there's another canker that is also there, looking at everybody talking about interest rate, inflation. When inflation is high, no matter what you are getting in your investment or interest rate that is not above inflation, we are seeing in real negative return. And that's why, as we speak now, both cryptocurrency, FS, equity, bond are all hit by this inflation. The only place that people can hide their head is real estate backed equity or real estate business. That is where people can say, yes, I can run there, I'm safe, because of what? The demand, and also the kind of the nature of that access. But for me now, what we're looking at as investors, that here, look at the equities that on the exchange. Look at the fixed income market. The highest return in the fixed income market is 13.56 as we speak now. 5 years, and we're having inflation around 20.52. You can see the gap there. And for me, for investors now to know what to do, look at equities on the exchange that has higher dividend yield and earnings yield. There are two things. If you have high earnings yields, it will support your payout. But if your earnings is not strong, it can't support your payout. Then, even though we are seeing yield that is high, this yield that is telling about the past performance of this company, that's why we are seeing the yield high on the exchange because of low price. Then now you want to look at, that's why Q3 number is very, very important for any serious investor, because it's going to give you an insight what is likely to happen at the end of the financial year. I know that as at Q2, most of the companies on the exchange surpassed their performance in 2021, which is good. But now, if we are seeing a high yield, for example, now we are seeing the life of GT code moving down to almost 17.8, I mean 17.5 now. The yield is almost around 16% to 17%. No, you're as an investor, the yield you're going to pay at the end of the year will also cover that. If you have almost already 17% yield, then you are entering that kind of stock with especially that if the price goes back from this is 17 naira to 20 naira or 21 naira, you have covered inflation and ahead of inflation. That is how to work to grow assets and also to protect your fund. You get it? But if you are in a stock that the price is selling 200 naira and the dividend yield is 4%, for me it doesn't make sense. Then fixed income become.
There are those who would want to know, how do I calculate the dividend yield? How do I calculate this?
Yes, that's why we're having masterclass tomorrow. Then,
and that is why we're also having an analyst hangout today.
Then the 200 stock that's having 4% yield doesn't make any sense for you. For you to do that kind, it's better if you go to fixed income. Despite that the risk is though you're already in red because what you're going to get in that stock that has no low period yield, if your fixed income can cover it, you prefer to go there. Despite that is red, because if I'm putting one in stock that my yield dividend is, and the price is not likely to move as expected because of what we're seeing, that no liquidity in the market. Then why will I enter such stock that's selling for 200 and dividend is 3%? You get it? In that, I said investors should now invest with knowledge. That's why I said you can fit to the work is important that every investor should have acquire skill. Your investing skill or trading skill is key now, not just the money you invest. Because if you have the money and you have the money, don't do skill, you'll be moving around and you'll make a profit. But if you have the skill, the little money you cannot to apportion where you should be at this particular
time. I think we just have to move on right now in 30 seconds so we can move on.
Well, there is always an inverse relationship between interest rate and economic growth. And once you increase interest rates, it's obvious, like you have said, cost of fund. SMEs cannot, they're already having problems, SMEs. You now increase interest rate. Of course, the cost of fund, exactly, the cost of fund will go up. And production will slow down, your GDP will go down.
Simple.
So it has a spiral effect in the economy. So you are increasing interest rates. What are you also doing to ensure that you stimulate production activities? If you have not done that, then we are in for a real problem.
Okay. Well, so very quickly, the controversy surrounding the planned annual general meeting of the Nigerian Exchange Group, which is scheduled to take place on the 30th of September 2022, took another turn on Thursday as some of its shareholders applied for a court injunction to stop it. Well, this is a developing story, or a story that has been on for a while now. Very quickly, that particular AGM eventually held. So just tell us what happened.
Yes, the AGM went on as planned successfully. Yes, and of course, the proxy people who were supposed to be there, they were there, went on smoothly. However, there were some unconfirmed reports. There were some resolutions that did not go through. As we speak now, I can't say which of the particular resolutions.
What about the resolution about a 35 billion naira they wanted to raise the capital?
Well, of course, you've seen a lot of agitation against that. So obviously, I believe probably that might also be among one of those that
That
will
did
not fly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's a good place to end this conversation.
Yes, yes.
I mean, for the fact that it didn't fly, that's enough. I mean, that's good news for everyone.
But they had a successful meeting.
Oh, well, congratulations to them.
Exactly.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll look at the transport services. We're going to do comparative analysis of their earnings. Stay with us. All right, that's you stay with us. I told you before we went on that timeout that we are looking at transport service providers' earnings. So we're doing a sector and comparative analysis of their performance. We'll start with NAHCO. We have NAHCO, we have CAVERTON Offshore, we have SAHCOL, and we have Trans Nationwide. So we're looking at their H1 2022 against H1 2021, and we'll see the percentage change. Let's start with the turnover. That's for NAHCO, 6.48 billion naira in 2022, and then in 2021, 4.71 billion naira. The percentage change there, 37.41. For CAVERTON Offshore, 13.96 billion naira, and then 2021, 18.09 billion naira, and the percentage change there, minus 22.83. And then for SAHCOL, 5.68 billion naira 2022, 2021, 4.15 billion naira, and the percentage change, 36.62. For Trans Nationwide, 370.06 million naira in 2022, and in 2021, 333.99 million naira. The percentage change there being 10.80. Let's start with you, Mr. Charles.
Yes, well, the figures are, like we always say here, they don't tell lies. We've seen that's NAHCO doing percentage about 37%, which is the highest in that sector. Of course, NAHCO has always been the leader, one of the leaders in that industry. And if you look at the services NAHCO is providing, cargo handling, they've done quite a lot. And even the ownership of NAHCO, you also have some foreign investors who are still owners of NAHCO, like the British Airways, Air France, they're there. And over the years, NAHCO has shown to be the best, one of the best in that industry. Now, they've invested so much to have this kind of results, after acquiring over 4 billion ground support equipment to enhance their operation, make it more efficient. So we are seeing that result. And you also know they've paid dividends sometime, about 41 kobo. And of course, they've also promised. But you also notice that the nature of their business, when we were in COVID, there was a lot of problem. And we're just, facing out of that stage. We're seeing improvement in the airline industry. And that is what NAHCO is also showing. Coming to CAVERTON helicopters, well, you can see that it is the only negative that is there. Yes, CAVERTON started very well, but they have a lot of problems now. If you recall, this was also the company that the vice president helicopter crashed somewhere in Kogi, if you recall, also in Cameroon too. And they service mainly the oil and gas industry. Now, that sector, oil and gas, is a sector where you need high level of efficiency. They lost the Chevron contract, and that has impacted on them. That's why we are seeing some of these results. So, CAVERTON has to really go back to the drawing board and see that they do what they are expected to do, because it's a very difficult terrain. The oil and gas, they don't have your time. They want safety of their personnel. And at a point in time, CAVERTON could not even maintain some of their aircraft. Chevron has to maintain those aircraft because they want to convey their personnel on to their oil rigs, which are usually offshore, inside water, and they want safety. And if they now see that you are not meeting those things, that's why Chevron had to cancel the contract, and it's impacting on
the earnings
of CAVERTON helicopter. So I think they should go back and begin to re-strategize and see how they can improve these numbers. Okay,
well, very quickly, let's look at the profit after tax. But before then, just say one or two things about the earnings.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, on the exchange, on the economy at large, this sector service has been kind of, you know, on the look or the mind for a long time. If you look at any mature economy, the transport sector is what drives, you know, economic growth and activities. But if you look at the Nigerian market, we have those unserious companies listed on that sector. You have big companies that are not there. But I believe that, you know, that sector should give what good attention to attract what more serious companies that will give Nigeria return on their investment. Fine, Oga was saying about you know, CAVERTON. Yes, we know that NAHCO of recent just, you know, kind of breathe out. I say, okay, we saw improve performance in their previous numbers, but that is not a guarantee of the future performance of that. But the sector where they operate is very sensitive. You know, when the economy is down, you will see, because as to speak now, the rate of, you know, air transport have reduced, you know, drastically because of cost. And not only that, like a company like ABC Transport, I wanted to include it here, but that exchange was not downloading in the numbers I sent to you. You know, that is also, we look at how many of these companies that are into land you know, transport that are still listed, and they are making money. I'll tell you, no matter how the cost of transportation will be, if you go in the stage we are going, that's why today we are seeing that inflation is on higher because of cost of you know, gas and movement, and because you want to move from one point to the other, you will pay. That means this company is not moved by whether there is high inflation or cost of, because they are still, that means these are places that we should, because you must move from one point to another. Is business for you. For me, I believe that we should attract more companies that sector to come on board. But the ones we have seen a missed number. If you look at that number, I would say they are not attractive to me to a level. There's a missed number apart from, you know, the SAHCOL and the NAHCO. We can see also because they are into aviation related business. But for those ones, I see that the way ABC Transport is going, if that company is giving time and also more investment, you know, because these are people that the only that, as I was saying, insecurity is not a problem. Before Nigeria will have a two life.
Okay, I think
night life and but now, you know, most people move their goods in the night on the road. But now, because of insecurity, these are things. You know, I believe that if we want this company to move, a lot of things. That's why you say you always ask, what is the physical doing? This is where physical will come in.
All right. Okay. So for profit after tax, we're looking at NAHCO now, 968.36 million naira, and in 2021, 504.88 million naira. The percentage change there, 91.80. Then CAVERTON offshore, 202.80 million naira, and then 2021, 780.01 million naira, and then the percentage change there is in the negative, -74%. SAHCOL, we have 310.22 million naira. In 2021, 411.78 million naira, and also a negative change there, -24.66. Transnationwide, 26.52 million naira in 2022. In 2021, -33.09 million naira. And then the change, 180.15. Very quickly, what happened to Transnationwide in 2021?
You can see, you know, when you're going to Korea-related business, you can see today many businesses have gone online. And if you are buying, you are in your house, somebody has to deliver such goods for you. That is why the life of Resta Express and Resta Express and this, no, I'm not kind of surprised seeing the number, because we have seen that the post COVID-19 has changed, you know, the network movement and the system of everything, that most companies are online, and as you buy from your phone, somebody has to deliver. That means that business should also do well. That's why we're expecting that the life of Rest after their last right issue. They invested huge money in acquiring some equipment and some lorries so that they can move perishable goods from far distance for long distance. When all these things come, because that is why I said transport is what drives any economy. It's not because, as I said earlier, the way we handle transport here is not the way it should be, because they should be comparing with other mature markets like US, China, UK. You see that sector, transport, is given attention because that is where movement has to go for me. But these numbers are not too impressive, I will tell you, but we're seeing a sign that they are coming up. That's why we're discussing, so that investors that are thinking long can know how to import. I said, a company that has good, what we call it, your engine, your earnings engine is strong to support your price. That's because, especially in the environment we are today, it's not where you guess again. Look for a company that has consistent earnings, because that tells you that in the future that consistency will continue. But if a company is doing this year positive, next year negative, you can't predict such company. If you go for a company that has consistent earnings growth and their earnings power is strong, that's where you should put your money.
All right, for earnings per share now, we start with NAHCO 60 kobo, CAVERTON offshore 6 kobo, SAHCOL 23 kobo, Nationwide 6 kobo. We'll take that with the PE ratio. Now for the PE ratio, NAHCO 10.06, CAVERTON 18.17, SAHCOL 29.89, and Nationwide 10.08. So let's start with you.
Yes, of course, the figures are still tallying. NAHCO is still the number one. You can see there in terms of that's the earnings. And when you even go to the PE ratio, you can see that, of course, using other parameters too, NAHCO is still, you recoup your investment quickly in the NAHCO. Of course, the next one there will be, is it Nationwide?
Nationwide.
So you can see. But I want to say that for Nationwide, they still need a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of things to be done. Yes, they started this their biofarm cold room supplies where they will move medical diagnosis. It needs to be stored in the proper temperature and condition for the
medical
customers.
Samples?
Yeah, medical samples. So they've acquired that equipment and it's being deployed. So if they improve on that, of course, we're seeing earnings is going to come from there, because we need these medical samples to be at the appropriate temperature and delivered to the client at the appropriate vaccines and all that. For the logistic, the mail room, these are very competitive area. You even see smaller dispatch riders, everybody in that sector. So they need to really do a lot. But I think if they differentiate themselves in that movement of pharmaceutical and biopharm products, medical samples, it will give them an edge in terms of what they will be expecting. Yes, is this Sky Aviation? It used to be as part of Nigerian Airways, but privatization, it became. But you can see that they are, at least it's doing so well. You can see that they have earnings. For Sky Aviation, yes, they've gone into even aviation security. They handle everything as soon as the aircraft just land on the tarmac and it takes off again. That is Sky Aviation. They are there to do everything for you. They handle your cargo very well. But I'm also very impressed because they also won the best performing stock for the year 2021. Yes, they got that, and of course they've also paid dividend. But again, what's most important for me, they acquired an equipment that has zero carbon emission, which they have deployed now in handling cargo. So that is very, very key, because if you have equipment and you are still emitting carbon to the environment, you are destroying the environment. Despite all the profits you are making, can you pay for that destruction? You can't pay for it. So their carbon credit is low in terms of that equipment. So I give them kudos. They should just continue to brand themselves very well and continue what they've been doing.
All right. Very quickly, let's go to the book value per share. For the book value per share, starting with NAHCO, we have 4 naira 92 kobo. CAVERTON 5 naira 20 kobo. SAHCOL 14 naira 35 kobo. Nationwide 71 kobo. So let's have your thought on that.
Yeah, if you look at the book value, it tells you that you can at least say that, for me, let's say that book value is not enough for you to give a proper evaluation of a company, but also for you to know what is happening in the market value, and in case these companies are going on that world, liquidation, then you can see what the common investor can get at the end. But for me, if you look at the numbers there, you can see if a CAVERTON is having about 5 naira book value, we are seeing NAHCO is up to around below that. And for me, I think investors also look at, because I see prospect in that NAHCO. Why in that CAVERTON? Why I say so? CAVERTON, as like he said, I'm surprised that a company that is unable to service its own company is not taking contract to manage a presidential fleet in an African country. That's why I said, because if that also business comes to them, it's for them to also make money, and also they are partner with the Nigerian ministry to also help them to kind of service their for me, these are the things that I see that will also. But that's why if you're a long-term investor, you know the sector, but only that oil sector is a very cyclical sector that you can't predict. If you are serving that sector, when there is boom, you make money. When it's downturn, you have to go with it. Just like it was, it's a sector that today you might see an impressive earnings in the company. The next time you are seeing it now, that is that sector where their business offshore thing. But I believe that what is happening international today, they should also make money. That's why we expect that this number I'm seeing from CAVERTON, I'm not impressed at all. Because if we are seeing oil price almost touching $100, even we are going above it before now, which will show improvement, unless they have totally this kind of all their contract they have with oil servicing company has been totally abandoned or have been cancelled. But going to managing a presidential fleet for African country, if they can get more and also now partner with Nigeria in terms of maintenance and also movement, for me it's a good one for them. That means only that allows people that doing business with government, you have to be very careful. Yeah.
Okay. So finally, for profit margin, NAHCO 14.95. CAVERTON offshore 1.45, SAHCOL 5.47, and transmission wide 7.17. Okay, that's for profit margin. Yeah, I like it.
In the midst of inflationary environment, if you are seeing this kind of profit margin from them, I'm not surprised, because I told you that cost of diesel, cost of aviation, it is high, and if we are seeing that sector also, we are seeing this kind of numbers still. But the one for me, the one that's so impressive, and I could say kudos to, is the NAHCO, about 14 point something. Exactly. For me, it's a good one. Followed by the one where say Transnation. Transnation also tells that company is going somewhere. For those that are thinking long, all these kobo stock, at times, there's high risk in them. But if you know the right time to, that's why I said you must always combine your technical and your fundamental. You see when it's having a positive sentiment and a positive perception, you jump in quickly, because there will be momentum for you to know. If you are depending on the numbers, the fundamental, you might not go into so, but there's a time. Every stock market of the world, even if it has a time for move. That's why people come here, this stock is not moving. I tell you, it's not the time for that stock. There's always something to move a stock at a particular time. That's why each sector has a time for them to rest. That's why today now, everybody is looking at oil sector, we're looking at banking sector. There's something driving them. There are some sentiments, some policies that are behind them. For me, for this sector we're looking at, because they're important, it's not because I said earlier they are not being well. This is so that no matter what happens, you must move from one point to the other. That's why I say you have to be very careful and also look at them very little and invest at the right time.
Okay, so very quickly, there is the return on equity for NAHCO 12.12, CAVERTON offshore 1.16, for SAHCOL 1.60, and for Trends nationwide 7.95. So this is what we have for the return on equity. In wrapping up, really, I'd like to know your thoughts on all these.
The figures don't tell lies. You can see NAHCO is still giving better returns to their investors. You can see it there, and of course followed by what's the next one? Transnationwide. So you can see that, like he said, Transnationwide is common stock, but that stock has a very good potential. So investors should just look at this sector, and of course, when you're looking at this sector, my advice would be always assess your risks. Because the stock markets, whether you agree with me or disagree with me or not, is not for everybody. That is the reality. You need to understand the risk that is involved. It is not 100%, no matter how the analysis, whether you combine technical or fundamental.
Value
stock, So you just have to assess your own risk appetite, your risk tolerance, before you now talk to your broker and you invest in the market. And while investing in the market, the best approach I always advise, costs, Naira cost averaging.
I think we're going to talk about Naira cost averaging some other time. And in closing, I'd like you to talk to investors. What should they do looking at these stocks?
No, don't like my colleague here have just said, what is important for every investor is that you must up your game in terms of skill, your knowledge of investing. Don't guess because others are doing. No.
But what's the work of your stockbroker?
Stockbroker is to give you advice. It is your hard-earned money. If you understand what your stockbroker is doing, easier for you to take quick decision.
You take decision.
Let me tell you today, as it is today, if you see an entrepreneur, a technology becoming your president today, when the ministers come to tell him this is this, because you understand they tell him, he won't linger. He will see progress. But when he doesn't understand, he has to call for another day for another meeting. Or you want to go to consult another set of people to interpret that for him. See, time will be, that's why I said you need somebody to understand what is going to do or what is happening. That is where you need, a leader that, that's why I said, the 2023 election is very key for Nigeria. But like we just said, you have to increase your skill to invest wisely. Let me stop there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to my stockbrokers who have become authorized dealing clerks. Yes, congratulations, and they started putting on red.
Yes, that's good.
It's hard-won success. Congratulations.
Yes, okay, that's a good one. Congratulations. I'm actually clapping for them.
Creating more employment for the youths.
Exactly.
They are moving to it's good to be in where they create money, because in exchange is where you multiply your money. You do it right. It's good to be in that circle.
Anyway, I think this is a good place to wrap up the show. Many thanks to you, Charles Omodio, for coming on the show. Charles Thank you, Charles.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Many thanks to you, Professor Mojo.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's my brother, that's why.
Well, many thanks to you for joining us on the show. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Do enjoy the rest of the day and happy weekend. Bye for now.
Yeah.